Bridge damage, flooded city streets. There is not much Eddy County and the city of Carlsbad have not encountered this week after heavy rain.
And many people who have lived in Carlsbad for years are telling us this is the worst flooding they've seen in at least a decade.
It ate up underneath the concrete there.
He said the road started collapsing.
I never seen it rain so many days, one after another.
After another and another, from flooded intersections to damaged bridges, and take a look at that, swift water rescues. The heavy rain and flooding in Carlsbad is doing lots of damage, so much that people say it hasn't been this bad since at least 2004.
And we were busy packing our stuff, so when we looked back, it was already.
Jenica Granger's home here near the Baton Recreation area along the Pecos was about to flood when police knocked on their door early yesterday and told her and her family to get out fast. Luckily, the water stopped right at the edge of homes in the neighborhood, but the damage here is obvious, particularly at two bridges here in Carlsbad. Both are only a couple of years old. Now they are closed indefinitely. The San Jose Boulevard Bridge is missing about 150 feet of sidewalk, and the Callaway Bridge is also badly damaged and no longer level. And the cleanup here cannot start until all the water recedes, and emergency managers say that could take a while.
And this was the scene west of Carlsbad on White Sands Missiles Range. It looks like a bubbling geyser. There's water over White Sands Road, a lot of debris and big rocks making the drive treacherous. A bulldozer was brought in to clear the mud and debris. And farther west in Silver City, this was the scene. Water flowing over one roadway. News 13 viewer Cynthia Berison sent us this picture of the flooding there. And up to the north, people in Cimarron did all they could to protect their homes from rushing water and mud.
Because I knew the way it was coming down that at the very least I was going to get some flooding, in my yard, some rocks and stuff. At the very least. I always do when it rains hard, but not to this extent.
Dump trucks delivered sand for sandbags to help block the water from entering homes and businesses. The Cimarron police chief tells News 13 they had been getting between 5 and 10 inches in about a 3-hour period. Officials are still working on the final rain totals. Schools were delayed yesterday because of all of the flooding. The city of Pecos, Texas is also preparing for mandatory evacuations as floodwaters seep through the city there. A storm system is filling the Red Bluff Reservoir at a rapid rate, sending water into the Pecos River. Be sure to keep it right here for updates on the flooding and school delays and closures. We will have the very latest both on air and online and all the time at KRQE.com.
Internationally this morning, the U.S. and 5 Arab allies launched the first airstrikes against ISIS in Syria last night. That's a Tomahawk missile taking off from a U.S. Navy destroyer. The Pentagon says a mix of fighter jets, bombers, and Tomahawk missiles fired from the warships were used to destroy ISIS targets. The new campaign comes after weeks of airstrikes targeting ISIS in Iraq. Now here in the U.S., world leaders are meeting about how to defeat the terror group, and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair is saying ground troops may be needed.
All I'm saying is that in all future engagements, you can't rule them out in all circumstances.
President Obama has ruled out putting U.S. combat troops on the ground in Iraq and Syria, but is moving to arm and train moderate Syrian rebels to battle ISIS in that country. The president is set to address the UN tomorrow. Well, back here at home in New Mexico, jury selection resumes today in the trial of former APD Sergeant Adam Casaus. In 2013, Casaus was off duty in his APD SUV when he ran a red light on Eagle Nest at Paseo del Norte and hit another SUV. Ashley Browder was killed and her sister was badly hurt. Casaus says he was chasing a drunk driver, but there is no evidence of that. Potential jurors are being questioned about how much they already know about this highly publicized case. Once jury selection is done, the trial is expected to last a week. If Casaus is convicted of vehicular homicide, he faces up to 6 years in prison. And the federal trial is now underway for Rio Arriba County Sheriff Tommy Rodella. Prosecutors say Rodella violated Michael Tafoya's civil rights in March of 2013 when the sheriff used his personal SUV to pull over Tafoya in Espanola, shoved his badge in a driver's face, then dragged him from his car. Cameras are not allowed in federal court. Yesterday, Tafoya testified He felt his life was in danger. Now today, Rodella's lawyers are scheduled to cross-examine Tafoya, and they seem confident.
The idea being, when he's acquitted, he wants to finish his term. He's still a sheriff, but doesn't want this stigma, this cloud over his head.
This trial is set to continue through the week. We'll keep you updated. Liz?
Democratic challenger Gary King goes face-to-face with incumbent Governor Susana Martinez for the first time in this campaign. The Real Estate Construction Gubernatorial Forum was held yesterday in front of a packed house at the Albuquerque Marriott. Topics included how to bring jobs to New Mexico and education.
Collaborate with K through 12 and your higher education institutions to make sure that we are producing the students for the jobs of tomorrow, for the jobs that you are providing to those students.
The best thing we can do to improve education is to put control of education back in the hands of professional educators and take it out of the hands of the corporations that are now driving massive standardized tests.
All right, just so you know, both candidates said their top concerns are indeed education and jobs, and they did receive their questions in advance.